What is the WPGO? It is a collaboration between the Missionary Church's denominational university, Bethel, and the Missionary Church's sending agency, World Partners. It is the World Partners Global Engagement Office. The WPGO gives you the opportunity to see what God is doing, not only here in northern Indiana, but across the globe. God is at work. The Spirit is turning hearts towards Him. Jesus, our saving reigning King, is still in the business of reconciling the nations to Him, and He is inviting us to be a part of that. Why do we go? A few weeks after the Alaska Task Force team returned from ministering to children and youth in Noatak, tragedy struck, and a young man passed away, having drowned in a river. An elder sent this message to the team.
It is tragic for sure, and yet there is hope and peace. The ministry of the Bethel Group made such an impact. I believe that it was the night before you left. After the service, this young man and his girlfriend approached me with so much joy and asked if I would help them to be married. We had some initial counsel and prayer then and there. 2 days ago, he went to the church service in the evening, gave testimony, and gave his life to the Lord. Thank you for all the prayers, and most of all, for making the sacrifices, hard work, and planning to come to Noatak and minister. My heart and reflection tell me that the ministry of Bethel has direct correlation to this young man's salvation and entrance into God's amazing glory.
This is why we do what we do. This is why we go. This is World Partners. This is Bethel University. This is the Global Engagement Office. Good morning, Bethel. I'm excited for this morning because we get to do two things. We get to celebrate, this is the Global Engagement Chapel, and we get to celebrate what your peers have done over this past year on trips overseas, seeing what God is doing in the world, and we also get to launch the upcoming trips. We get to know about trips coming up and what's going on in the world. And so we're going to get right into some testimony with Hannah with her experience going to Greece and Turkey.
Hi, my name's Hannah Ruddle. I went to the Greece and Turkey learning trip this summer with Dr. McCabe. Some of the ways that I saw God working in the trip, and really just like the highlights, were getting to know all the people on the trip, like the professors and my peers. I got to talk to people from overseas that I never would have gotten to meet, and yeah, just getting to hear testimonies was really encouraging. And also just getting to learn more about Paul's missionary journeys really just helped me in my faith. The way that the trip impacted me the most was God really reshaped the word dedication for me. Getting to see all the different monasteries and traveling to Paul's missionary journeys, and honestly just being in a predominantly Muslim country and getting to see how they worship and how they pray really made me reflect on my own faith and just the faith of the West. And I feel like we've really missed a part of the dedication and discipline piece, so that was really cool to see. What I would say to a student considering going on a task force or summer learning trip is there's so many reasons to not go. Like, I was so scared to go. I was the only girl my age. I wasn't a ministry major. I was scared it was just going to be like me and a bunch of old people, and it kind of was, but it was really worth it. And I would say there's always going to be a million reasons to go, but like if you open yourself up to that opportunity, God is going to make a way for something to happen.
Good. And this was our summer learning trip where you could earn credit for it, and we have a trip coming up this next summer to Italy. So we're going to show a video about Italy.
Hi Bethel, I'm Chad Jay from the Department of Art, and I wanted to invite you on a trip that we're going on this summer. In summer of 2026, we're going to travel to Italy through the cities of Rome, Pompeii, Assisi, Florence, and Venice. We're going to step inside the Colosseum, Rome's arena for bread and circuses. We're even going to see the places where believers once gathered in catacombs. We're going to stand under Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel. While we're in Florence, we're going to see the David, the Birth of Venus, the Duomo. We'll wander through Pompeii, which is a preserved first century city that takes us back to a culture of the New Testament world, and then finish in Venice inside the beauty of St. Mark's Basilica. The trip itself is open to all Bethel students. You can take it for 1, or you can take it for 3 credits if you want, but that part's optional. The real limitation is just to come along. There are only 16 seats available, so apply early if you're interested.
I went to Italy in 2024, and it was a beautiful experience. I went into this trip with the mindset of observing more of God's creation, and that definitely played out that way. It was beautiful to see structures like St. Peter's Basilica and the Florence Cathedral with its beautiful marble facade. And in those experiences, I had this realization that if mere man can make these beautiful, magnificent, very detailed structures, how much more beautiful is God's new heaven and new earth going to be? You can go on a trip like this for so many different reasons. You can go just to say that you went to Italy. You could go to, if you are an art nerd like I am, it's insane to see how close places were, because when we're learning them in school, everything feels so separated and far apart. But when you're in the place where this history happened, you realize that the Medici Palace is only a block or two away from Florence Cathedral. It's a beautiful country, it's a beautiful culture to experience, and this, if you go into it with a mindset of this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, it will be, and it will be beautiful.
It's Italy, so you're going to come back with stories, sketches, maybe even a stronger sense of how art and faith are intertwined within our own history. And yes, of course, we're going to have lots of gelato.
I can say from experience, gelato is so worth it. And you can get up to 3 credits if you go on this trip. We're going to have tables set up in the back, so after chapel you can go, if you're interested in the Italy trip, go find the Italy table and you can get information packets about it, and you get all the questions, answers that you may have. All right, we're going to jump into some more testimony. Luke, go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Luke McBride. I'm a junior, and this summer I went on a trip to Costa Rica with men's basketball, and I saw God work in a lot of ways on this trip. But some that really stood out to me were how he worked in the hearts of our team and in the communities that we served. God just really filled all of our hearts with compassion for the people that we worked for. And in the communities, I mean, even though we didn't speak great Spanish, we were still able to bring them together and just show the love of Christ through what we did to serve them. And that was just really great to see them bond with that. The most impactful thing for me on this trip was when we went to serve with the kids ministry that focused on rescuing kids from prostitution, child harvesting, and some pretty evil things. And just working with them, and it really meant a lot to them that we were there to play with them and just have fun. And it really just showed that they cared so much that we came, and the love that we were able to show them through what we did, and we were able to show them that they were actually cared for, which they hadn't really experienced in life because they've been through a lot of pretty bad stuff. Also, this past weekend, I went on the task force trip with Bethel to Fort Wayne to help serve in the Burmese community with Muslim families, and it was just great to see how God worked in a community like that, where the kids don't really have much. We were able to just see the joy that the kids had and the excitement for us being there, and it was great to see how God broke through with some families and the kids that hadn't really came before. So for a student considering a task force trip, I would say definitely go, just because God will open your eyes to a lot of new experiences that you don't really get to see that much in life, and also God will work in ways that you didn't even know were possible. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Melody, and I went to Singapore this summer to help put on an interpreter training conference. So it was just so beautiful to see people from a lot of different cultures, because Singapore has many cultures, and even with different languages and like language differences, to just come together and work together. Also, it was really cool because during that trip, I realized that there were so many opportunities for me to put Jesus into my story, just like casually. So that was fun. And then I have always been interested in missions or studying abroad, but I didn't know how that could fit with an American Sign Language degree, so it was such a dream come true to get to go to another country and learn about another deaf culture and see what international opportunities there might be. So if you're thinking about doing a trip like this, I highly recommend it. It's such a unique opportunity for God to share his heart for people with you, and also for you to like see what role you might be able to play in that.
So my name is Liberty, and our volleyball team went to Jamaica this summer, and I was really looking forward to this trip because I've always had a heart for missions and for people, and so I was like, okay, this is gonna be awesome. Like, I'm gonna get to share the gospel with all these kids, and it's gonna be so cool. And I guess I was just like kind of discouraged because it seemed like all they wanted to talk about was like who they were taking to Camp Prom and all that kind of stuff. And so just going into it, I was just like, kind of through the week, I was just kind of wrestling, like, okay, Lord, like, why do you want me here? Like, we came all the way here, but like, what do you want to do here? Kind of thing. And it actually wasn't until the very last night where we were actually at Camp Prom, and I was sitting next to this girl, and she was kind of talking about her life, and it was just so heartbreaking, like what she's going through. And she was like, yeah, no one cares. And I was like, no, I care deeply. And so we like went outside, and I just talked with her and like saw her, and was just able to share the gospel with her for the first time. And this was the first time she's heard the gospel as undeserved grace from the Lord, and not this kind of like self-made immoral rightness with God. And I was just thinking about like the picture of how sweet the Lord's love is, that like us raising all that money, going on that whole travel just so that one girl could be looked in the eyes and told of how much her Father loves her. And it was just so sweet to think about that. And reminds me of a quote I've been reading in our World Mission class that says, I'd rather play a small part in a big story than a big part in a small story. And so anyone thinking about going on a trip, I would just encourage you, like, it is so worth it. And it might not seem productive to like the normal standard of like what is good to do, but it's so worth it, so.
My name is Haley. I was also on the women's volleyball trip to Jamaica. And I think just watching God work through our team and just through these girls that I love so dearly was the most impactful thing to me. That just a reminder that like we are all God's hands and feet, and that looks different for everyone. But just watching these girls before we even step on a volleyball court for the season, watching these girls love and just so much patience and so much kindness and goodness, and just watching, like, seeing Jesus being reflected so beautifully in each of their faces in just a way that I've never seen before. It was really impactful to me. And of course, you don't have to travel across seas to see that, but I think these trips are such a cool opportunity to just serve with people that you know but have never served alongside like that, and just get into a new culture, have new experiences, and just get to know the Lord in a new way.
Great. Our next trip we're going to launch is a joint effort between Bethel University and St. Mark Missionary Church.
Hey everyone, I'm Pastor Scotty from St. Mark, and we are so excited to be offering our second ever Bethel St. Mark Students Ecuador trip in June 2026. If you're hoping to experience God's kingdom in a new, fresh, and exciting way, this trip is for you. We're going to be taking a week to serve our sister church in Carmen Bajo, to serve the community there, put on a festival for the children, and go on a camping trip with the local congregation. On this trip, you will have the opportunity to partner with our high school ministry at St. Mark to pour into some of them, to encourage them as they take the next steps of their faith as well. They're going to be joining us on this trip, and what is our hope that as we go through this trip together, as we experience these things together, that we will grow in community and build up God's kingdom together. Oftentimes, God calls us to step outside of our comfort zone. So maybe that's you. Maybe you've been in Indiana for a long time, or maybe Michigan or Ohio or wherever you come from. But God wants to stretch you on this trip. So say yes, show up, come to Ecuador. It's going to be awesome. If you're interested in joining us, meet us outside in the foyer right after this chapel. We're so excited to talk to you and get you signed up so that we can go to Ecuador with you next summer.
Hey guys, I'm Abby, like I said earlier, and I went to Noatak, Alaska, and what I'm wearing right now is an atikluk. It's a cultural outfit that they gave us while we were there. Yeah, it was an incredible experience. We got to be there for 2 weeks, and something that the Lord just showed me while we were there is how much He's at work in the village of Noatak. It's 100 miles north of the Arctic Circle, and even though it's physically isolated, the Lord is truly moving there. The church really displayed just the hope of the Lord in the midst of difficulties of life and struggle. They hope in the Lord with such strength, and so that was a huge impact on me. Another thing that really impacted me was the relational ministry we got to do. We did VBS there, and we did youth programs, but for me, that was only as impactful as the time we spent outside of that with the kids, loving on them. And so it really just taught me to serve and love like Jesus, to just sit with people when they want to sit, to give as many piggyback rides as possible, and just to truly love on these kids. And so if you're interested in going on one of these trips, it's a super incredible opportunity to experience another culture while still being inside the United States. So you don't need a passport, which is super helpful, because when I went, mine was missing, but I found it, so no worries. Yeah, it's an incredible opportunity just to serve, to get to know fellow Bethel people, and just to, love on the kids there.
Yeah, I went on the Noatak, Alaska task force as well. My name is Tyler, and it was 2 weeks, and for me, I mean, it felt like a short time, but when we were there, it felt like forever, but also flew by. Like, we showed up not knowing any of these people. They were strangers. We had this huge cultural divide, but we left being family. And I think that's the biggest way I think I saw God move, was just this idea that, like, these relationships just grew so deep in 2 weeks. We had people in our group and in our team that got to know the elders really well, and other people that got to know the teens really well, and other people that got to know the kids very well. And I think that was just so impactful, in that these people that were in a different place of life, in a different place in the world, we were able to connect with them so deeply, and that those relationships didn't just stop there. Like, I remember there was one day, I received over 50 calls from some of the kids in Alaska. Like, it's crazy. But I get calls from them all the time. I'm contacting them, I'm talking to them. And so God really moved in these relationships. And I think in one way that it impacted me was it really stretched me. I mean, there was points where we were dead tired. I got like 5 hours of sleep, and now I got to wake up and go carry some more kids on my back. But I think it really stretched me, but it was just this idea that God is the thing that strengthens me, right? And so it really stretched me to the point to rely on God. And I think that's the reason I would encourage you guys to do it as well, is that it stretches you, it shows you a new place of life, it gives you a new idea of God's mission, and it just displays to you the love that Jesus has for the entire world. And not just the people here with you, or the people that you know, or the people in your church, but the people that you pass by every day. And I think that was incredible. But yeah, so this was just a snapshot of what we experienced in Alaska. But if you want to know more, just come talk to us or anybody else on the team. I'm sure we'd love to talk. But thank you.
All right, great. And then we're really excited. A trip we're offering for a very first time this next summer will be a Bethel University task force trip to Mongolia. When I think of Mongolia, my first thoughts are of Genghis Khan and of Mongolian horses. I've always thought of this country as a forgotten land, and I couldn't even place its exact location. It's just a land somewhere between China and Russia. Then I was introduced to one of my colleagues, Sigmund. He is an incredible human being who loves the Lord and is doing everything he can to share Jesus with his country. He, along with our World Partners Regional Strategy Coordinator, Jeff, are excited to welcome a team from Bethel to experience the wonder that is Mongolia. We will come alongside some key ministries working with youth in different parts of the country, learning what it is like to be and make disciples in this primarily Buddhist setting. It won't be an easy trip, with long flights, long rides, sleeping on floors in host homes, and drinking mare's milk. But it will be worth it to join in with what God is doing among unreached people groups in a forgotten part of the world.
Hi, Bethel University. My name is Jeff Spence, and this is my good friend Sigmund. And we want to invite you to come to Mongolia, May in 2026. You'll be flying into Ulaanbaatar, the capital, and then driving out to Bayankhongor, our hometown.
Hi everyone, I'm Sigmund. Welcome to Bayankhongor, because Bayankhongor is the best places of the Mongolia. Welcome Bayankhongor. See you 2026 May.
Yes, we'll be able to be seeing a number of different ministries that are happening and be able to come alongside disciple makers that are in Mongolia and influencing the world beyond.
This trip will be led by Jeremy Tice and Kent Eby and will take place the last 2 weeks of May. Come with us to Mongolia.
Hi guys, I'm Lauren. I went on the New Mexico Nursing Task Force trip last May. On this trip, it was a really cool opportunity to just get to see the Navajo population and just love on them and get to do some nursing experiences and things with them. The thing I saw God move through this trip was when we went to the Huon church. This church was primarily Navajo people, and it was spoken in English, like the sermon was preached in English and then translated into the Navajo language. That was a really cool opportunity to just experience. And then at the end of the service, they had an extended worship period. And throughout this worship, it was just in the Navajo language. So me and my peers on the trip, we didn't understand like what they were saying, but it was really cool. And I just saw God working through this when I looked around and saw all these people singing and praising Jesus in their language. And although like I couldn't understand it, I could just see that they were praising God. And it was just a reminder to me that no matter what language we speak, we, all nations, all tongues, we all praise the same Jesus. And so in that moment, it was a really cool opportunity to just see everyone praising Jesus, even if I couldn't understand the words that they were saying. You all should go on this trip if you're a nursing major, because it's just a really cool opportunity to just be Jesus' hands and feet and just love on those around you while also getting to use some of the clinical experience that you get to learn during the school year.
I'm going to mess up our photo order a little bit. Can we jump to the Nursing Mexico pictures, not the video? These are more NOATAC Alaska ones, if you can find them. There, that's the last Alaska one, and then we'll have some nursing photos you can share while we go.
Hey guys, I'm Mackenzie. I also went on the New Mexico nursing trip. This one is only for nurses, so sorry. I really enjoyed going on this. It was a great way to get out of Indiana and go to another beautiful state, more exciting state, and get to enjoy people who were just so willing to open up to us and invite us into their homes and talk to us about their culture. We got to meet some amazing people. I think the biggest way I saw God move was we were at a children's home called Manuelitos Children's Home, and it was absolutely amazing. The kids there at first, they did not like us. I wouldn't say they didn't like us. They were just very shy and quiet at first. However, we started playing games and they showed their true colors, which was good. And it was just amazing to get to know them and see how much they were interested. Some of them were really interested in nursing. Some of them were interested in engineering. And we had another person on the trip who was a mechanic or something. And so he got to talk to some people about that. And it was just really amazing to see how interested they were and how open they were to talking to us. And I would say, like, this trip was an amazing way to get to go somewhere else, but still be in the state and see, like, a whole other part of the country. We went to the national park there, and it was absolutely gorgeous to see the creation there, and what God did there was absolutely beautiful. And I didn't know we were doing quotes, so to quote Nike, just do it.
And this next summer, nursing students will have a chance to go to Ecuador.
Hi, my name is Teresa Jodway, and I'm going to be the team leader for the Nursing Task Force trip. We're going to be going to Ecuador in May of 2026. Just some things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing medical clinics. We're going to be going to fly into Quito. We'll be going to Cayambe, and we will actually be staying in hostels. We will also be taking a bus that goes from Quito to Cayambe. Once we get to Cayambe, we'll be going up into the mountains, and we usually take like trucks up into the mountains. We will be having usually medical clinics there. We will also be going to a refugee shelter in Quito and be seeing different refugees, whether it be from Colombia or Venezuela or even from Ecuador. The trip is open to juniors, seniors, and alumni that are in nursing. The other things that we'll be doing is we'll be going to an at-risk home, Casa de Hogar, and we'll be actually getting to talk and play with some at-risk children that are in the foster home. We will also be doing some, we have a fun day also scheduled too, where we'll also get to go to the equator and be able to do some shopping. Why should you consider going on this mission trip? I think one is that you'll get to experience the Ecuadorian culture. You'll get to really meet with the people, talk with the people, and be with the people. You'll get to use your nursing skills, whether it be communicating. We do have interpreters there, so you don't have to worry about being able to speak Spanish. But just being able to communicate with the people, just being able to love on the people. And I think that was the most experience that I think you'll gain from them, is being able to love on other people. We really get to experience God in different ways, and just being able to be with the people and build a relationship with them is really what God is calling us to do, and to serve others. And that's what our mission trip is going to be like. So I hope you sign up.
And one more thing that the Global Engagement Office has to offer is something called Semester Abroad. If you'd like to at some point take a semester and study overseas somewhere, we have opportunities for that. One thing that we do, try and do every year, is send a student to Oxford. So if you'd like to study in Oxford, this is a very academically heavy program, but you really get an incredible experience studying there. You can come talk with us about that. And also something we do every other year is send a group of students to South Africa for a semester abroad. So we're going to see a video about South Africa semester abroad.
I would really encourage anyone who's interested to think about studying abroad in South Africa. First off, it's one of the most beautiful countries I've ever seen. It's absolutely stunning. You're either looking at a mountain or you're looking at a beach, and it's just beautiful.
Lily and I, we volunteered at Connect Church, and we volunteered with the 6th and 7th graders, which is called Impact, on Friday nights, and we would get there and just build community with the students.
One of the highlights of going to South Africa was being able to live life with the people there. We got the opportunity to do an internship, but when we weren't doing that internship, me and Lydia were being involved in different things and just getting to live life with our host families and with the friends that we made there, and that was really, really special. Being able to see the way that the Lord was working in their lives and growing them was super inspiring for me to just witness and be a part of and kind of walk alongside them.
He's already there. God's working within the church and within the internship and with J-Life, which is what the internship is out of. He's there and he's working, and you can see that just with the interns we worked with, each of them just learning to love God and like go out and be his disciple makers. Oh, why? Why should people go? Because it's awesome. You get to be in South Africa, which is so pretty. You get to meet amazing people.
Hi, I'm Kaden Manis. I'm a Lift to 6 intern here in Cape Town, South Africa. And I've served with Lily and Lydia in different forms of ministry, including worship and so many other things. I had such an amazing time with them. One thing that I've learned in Lift to 6 is patience and time management when it comes to social media, and just growing my love for the Lord and growing my love for the kids.
My name is Dan. I'm a Lift to 6 intern in Cape Town, South Africa, and having Lily and Lydia on our team helped really see how different cultures bring different interactions into the workspace. And in Lift to 6, I've learned many things, but one of the biggest ones is spiritual disciplines, and in that, two of my favorite are prayer and journaling.
So we want to send another group of 4 students to South Africa in spring semester of 2027. If you have any interest in that at all, come find the table out back. So every single trip that we talked about, we have team leaders back there. I encourage you to go, stop by, and get information packets, learn more about the trips. Deadlines to apply for all the trips is November 1, except for the semester abroad. So you have until February to apply for a semester abroad. I really encourage you to consider these, take an opportunity to go see what God is doing in the world. I'm going to go ahead and pray real quick and excuse you. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for what you are doing in the world and for the part you're asking us to play a part of that. And I pray that there's students here today that are being called by you to go and do one of these trips, that you would speak to them now, give them courage to do that, and a willingness to do that. In your holy name, amen. All right, go to the information tables. You are excused.